Welcome, NoDQ Galaxy, back to a brand new edition of the NoDQ Review, number 137, Big G?
Correct.
Wow, and we are rolling right along. It just seems like yesterday we did episode 100. But I am Virtue, being joined by the elite panel of NoDQ this week, and I think it's the same as last week. Is that correct? Myself, Aaron Rift, Big G, and Noah Foster is back.
Good to be back. Good to see y'all again. Things have been good. Nice, simple, steady work week. Some good pro wrestling. A lot of things that have, once again, been exposed and noticed within the wrestling community, I'm sure. And I'm sure we'll cover a number of those topics and opinions. And it's good to be back here with y'all.
All right. Good to have you here. And then the man that's happy to be here is Big G, Pittsburgh Steelers fan. The NFL draft is tonight. We are up against the NFL draft. And right now, Aaron's like, what? What's that? Big G, you think it's going to hurt our numbers? Is that going to hurt us tonight?
I don't think it is. I think the viewership that watches us are niche wrestling fans, and they don't watch sports. But I digress. I'm doing good. I had a good conversation with an old friend of mine who is also a wrestling fan. You had me do some homework this past weekend, which was pretty fun. You know, I checked out the top 5 reviews and the 5 bottom reviews, but I'm sure you'll talk about that if you want. Other than that, I am ready to get this ball rolling.
Well, there's not much to say. The top 5 viewed reviews mostly had Roman Reigns and Ronda Rousey were the common names, and then the bottom ones, we saw some AEWs in the headlines.
Chris Jericho, like you said.
It speaks for itself. And by the way, congratulations to the Booker of the Year. Tony Khan, since you've had your show unopposed, you got a monster 1.2 million, then you went to 1.1, now you're back to 889,000. Congratulations. Keep doing what you're doing. Have Dave Meltzer co-write with you over Skype. You are doing a fantastic job, Booker of the Year. All right, what's up, Aaron Rift?
I think that this week we could pretty much throw out that number because of the Joe Biden speech. But next week, if they do 890,000, I think that you might be onto something. Anyways, I'm happy to be here, just like
Mark.
Big G. Why are you calling Big G Mark?
There's the defense. There's always a defense for a wrestling fan. Aaron, you told me yourself you can't get anybody to watch your streams after NXT and AEW. That, I rest my case. We won't even talk about it ever again. But with that, I rest my case.
It's because we get more views from people that are browsing YouTube and they're not really watching wrestling like diehard fans would. They're just casually checking out YouTube, and they might check out our video to see what's going on and get the updates. But with AEW and NXT, you know, the people that watch our stuff are usually watching AEW and NXT. They're the diehard wrestling fans. So yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle with the AEW and NXT streams, but NoDQ Review is doing good. And hey, if we drop this week, we can blame it on the sports. But yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, okay.
I've been waiting for it to do its normal couple thousand and not these big numbers that we're not used to. But hey, good for the YouTube algorithm. All right, it's great to have everybody together. Now that we got that all off of our chest, let's go through these topics. Topic number 1. No, I'm going to come over to you first on this one because I'm interested to hear what you have to say. We know the recent releases from WWE, correct?
Correct.
And I never knew they left stuff behind. I always thought that wrestlers took all their gear and stuff, but sometimes things are left behind and it's sent back to them. Now, WWE is a billion-dollar company, and they're doing quite well for themselves. They're getting money from everywhere. You would think they can invest into some nice boxes, packing peanuts, bubble wrap, you know, just standard professional stuff. It's not like you're an office worker. You're going into your office with your box and you're getting your stuff and leaving. You're an entertainer that was on television, and it's kind of like very public company when it comes to that. You would think that these people would be treated with a little more respect, but Mickie James got her belongings back to her in a garbage bag, in a box. Now, you know, if I'm taking some of my own stuff and I grab a garbage bag for it, that's fine. If you have a company that just lets you go and they're as public and as big as WWE, you would expect a little more class, but maybe there were some people working there, not any longer, Mark Carrano, that maybe fueled a environment of out with the trash, we don't need you anymore. Because let's face it, the wrestling business is full of pricks. We've heard a lot of people that have been in the business recite that. A lot of pettiness. But Noah, what's your thoughts here? Professional or not? We did get apologies. Mickie did get apologies from Triple H and Stephanie, corporate apologies. So I don't know. But you love wrestling, I want to hear your take on this.
Well, the way I see it, this is unprofessional no matter how you look at it, especially for a company that showcases themselves at such a high level, profit, PR, public view wise, and all, especially a great veteran like Mickie James. And the thing is, she's been on multiple platforms talking about this too. She feels like that this has been a continuation for several years now, not just against her, but people maybe within her age realm, people that literally are like her, or women wrestlers. There's been other female wrestlers that have left the company too that have had similar treatment and literally exposed it too via other platforms. Mickie James and Gail Kim and Maria Kanellis right now are the big three. The way I see it is unprofessional, but I do like how WWE took swift action the exact same day, it seemed, according to time of tweets, with Triple H talking about this is unprofessional, that person's release, and Stephanie McMahon also saying that as well. And according to podcast Mickie did, even Vince himself reached out to her and says, "I'm sorry this happened to you." With that being said, though, if this has been a continuation, okay, you remove one person, what's to stop this from not happening again? And who's to say this isn't going to continue or has happened to other talents too? Regardless how you look at it, and apparently John Laurinaitis worked in a similar office with this man and apparently sent out a similar tweet to Mickie as well, like Triple H did. I feel like right now they're covering their bases, but time will tell if this truly changes how they handle and respect those that have given to this company going forward and decides to give them the best in their future endeavors. Bottom line, though, unprofessional.
Thank you for that opinion, and I agree. Big G, you know what set me off, that tipped me off as this being a rib, more of a rib, and shots, was the green painter's tape with the name Mickie on it. And there was something about that, labeling that bag was what set me off. And look, you can call me petty, right? I'm a professional person. I know that businesses can do things certain ways. Yes, she doesn't work for them anymore. But I mean, come on. I mean, this is an entertainment industry. You know, is Hollywood going to send, Tom Cruise's belongings back to him in a garbage bag? I don't think so. Now, I'm not saying Mickie James is like Tom Cruise. So what do you think here, Big G?
Yeah, I mean, crazy. Unprofessional. You figured if they would, I would figure, the superstars would have a chance to go and collect their belongings and put it in the box and whatnot. But I guess not. They just get it sent to them. And I wonder if they do the same thing with the male superstars, if they just put it in a trash bag and send it to them. It's kind of, it's crazy how WWE treats their superstars when they leave the company. Hopefully nothing comes bad out of this. Hopefully, which obviously Triple H and Stephanie tweeted out a public tweet apologizing to her. And I think Nick Aldis had tweeted something out too that day. So very disrespectful to their superstars and their ex-superstars. And we'll just have to see what happens down the road with all this. Hopefully, WWE learns their lesson and says, okay, if somebody leaves, we're going to put it in a box and then ship it to them. Or we'll have them.
Box.
Huh?
Wasn't a box.
It wasn't a box?
It wasn't a box, but it was still in a garbage bag.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying, next time they need to put it in a box or a shipping box or whatever, or have the superstars go up there themselves and collect their belongings. And
you can put stuff in bags. There are bags that don't come across as trash.
Yeah, but it was a trash bag.
And the tape on the bag, the symbolism. Clearly, it was somebody.
It felt like they were literally throwing out the trash.
Yeah. Aaron, thank you, Big G.
You're welcome.
You looked a little nervous there, like you were going to upset like Triple H or Stephanie if you were going to say the wrong thing. We know someone in the office there once in a while watches this and they stooge back what we say to them. I mean, this is a big hit every Thursday night, prime time right here on NoDQ. Aaron, what do you think?
Well, Ron in the chat is saying, I wonder normal procedures for release belongings. From what I've heard, this is something that's been done for years with the trash bags, and Mickie is just the first person that brought attention to it, and maybe she felt offended by it. I did not expect this story to blow up like it did. I did not expect to hear about Mark Carrano being fired, and that was wild. And it makes me wonder if there's more to that we don't know about, and they were just looking to get rid of him. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, Jeff Meacham claims Carrano is a scapegoat.
Could be.
Could be.
Well, you mentioned that before, Virtue. You know, they always have scapegoats to, you know, do stuff.
Think who recently came back? John Laurinaitis.
Yeah.
Too many cooks in the kitchen. Let's get rid of one of them.
Yeah, very, very good point there. Dwayne Atkinson sent in a $5 super chat. He says, I can't resist. The trash bag is more over than Ricochet. LOL.
There it is.
There it is. First Ricochet hater super chat of the night. And it wasn't
it was big news. I mean, I wanted to talk about it because when I see, you know, Aaron tweeting a lot about it and stuff, we talk about stuff that gets talked about. That's what pulls people in here on YouTube. So it was definitely noteworthy.
And I feel like if Mickie had never posted that photo, they would have just kept doing it. It just would have continued to be a thing. But WWE, they're very self-conscious about bad publicity, and they're like, well, maybe we got to fire somebody, and
they got to make an example out of somebody, and he was it.
Apparently.
And I'm guessing wrestlers in the future will not be getting their belongings in a trash bag anymore. So there you go.
Yeah, but I mean, spend a little bit of money. Have some courtesy. These people are entertainers and putting their bodies on the line. Like I said, you know, you can go online and some of these nice places have stuff that you can ship to people in nice ways. You know. And
by the way, Psycho Jet Black said Joe Biden is more over than AEW with a $2 super chat.
Yeah, I don't think that that Biden thing really. Let's see. Let's watch next week. Let's see what those numbers are. You know,
I think they're going to do a good number next week. The question is, can they consistently stay over 1 million? That remains to be seen. I think the jury.
I mean, I just don't see wrestling fans that are in that AEW fan bubble are these political savants that want to watch Biden. That's just what I'm saying.
The numbers have gone down other weeks when there's been, like, whether it's the election coverage or something else.
We'll see next week.
Now we will.
We'll see next week. All right, next topic. Thoughts about Braun Strowman. Remember, that was the angle that he was just in with Shane McMahon. Yes, he did go over Shane at WrestleMania. But guess what? He beats Drew McIntyre on Raw, and I know Lashley was out there, and it was just another weird, dumb baby face thing that cost Drew this match. But at WWE Wrestlemania Backlash, I had to say that all. It sounds weird. This is now going to be a triple threat for the WWE title. Bobby Lashley defending against Drew and Braun Strowman, who now is back in the title picture. Big G, thoughts? I mean, WrestleMania Backlash. Now Strowman's involved in WrestleMania Backlash in the title picture? That doesn't make sense.
No. So I'm over Braun Strowman. I have been for a long time. Ever since the last time I thought Braun Strowman was relevant was a couple years ago when he was in that feud with Roman Reigns. Ever since then, Aaron put it straight on the money, I think on Twitter or whatever. He is the new Big Show. He's going back and forth as a babyface. They don't know what to do with him. He was put in the spot last year's WrestleMania because Roman Reigns is not going to participate at WrestleMania during the pandemic, which was fine. And Braun got the Universal title, and I thought that reign was very lackluster. And now he's put into the WWE title because he got his way. And I'm over Drew McIntyre too at this point. I could care less about McIntyre. I want somebody new. I want somebody fresh to challenge Lashley, you know, but
no, you're good with Lashley being the heel WWE.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm loving Lashley as a heel. You know, we talked about it when he first became champion. It's well deserving, and I'm liking, you know, him being paired up with MVP. You know, MVP is his mouthpiece, and Lashley goes out there and dominates. And like I said, I'm so over McIntyre. I'm over Strowman. at this point, I just want Lashley to go all the way at least through SummerSlam with the WWE title. So that being said,
well, it's a triple threat. Most likely,
Strowman can stick it where the sun don't shine.
There you go. All right, thank you, Big G. All right, Noah Foster, what do you think here for these? I know you're more into the like NXT style championships, but what do you think? Braun Strowman getting inserted into this main event.
Like most triple threats I look at, I think triple threats always have an extra person because you're trying to have a fall guy or you're trying to push somebody. Braun Strowman has not been the guy to push as the top draw in the match since the multi-person match with Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar, Samoa Joe, and Roman Reigns back at SummerSlam 2017. He's literally filler. The problem is Monday Night Raw has not built top-tier challengers or anybody new or even potentially tried and do some weird out-of-nowhere angle to try something different with somebody with, I don't know, Jeff Hardy, Damian Priest. Heck, small guy versus big guy. You could try and reinvent what you did with the freaking United States Championship with Ricochet and Lashley when they faced each other one time. But no, they don't want to do it. They want to stick with the consistent same people. And the only reason Braun Strowman's here is to further the continuing feud that's going to be Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley. I honestly see that being revisited at freaking SummerSlam. And as far as WrestleMania Backlash being a thing, it's publicity, it's marketing for Peacock because the biggest name in WWE is WrestleMania. So what's next? WrestleMania Money in the Bank? This is lazy and stupid. And an advanced prediction right now, Lashley's retaining moving forward. I'm glad Lashley's champion. He deserves it. But they got nobody noteworthy to take it off him, let alone challenge him right now. Raw is stuck in a tiny loop with Braun Strowman now in the middle of it.
Well said. There you go. I guess it doesn't really matter. I kind of want at this point Lashley to keep the title. So having it be a triple threat, there's more in Braun's in it now. If they don't want Drew to eat the pin and take the loss, they have Braun in there now. So this could just be a good way to keep the title on Lashley. Aaron, what do you think?
We got the predictions video coming up in a few weeks, but yeah, I'm pretty much with no on this one. I think this is just a way for Lashley to retain the championship. He'll get the win, probably beating Braun Strowman. That way, Drew McIntyre doesn't have to take the fall. I mean, I see no other reason why that match is happening as a triple threat other than WWE booked themselves into a corner. And that's about it. I would have rather WWE just did like Strowman versus Lashley and kept McIntyre out of the title picture for a while, but they're doing what they're doing, and we're just going to have to live with it. It's what it is for the time being. I'm hopeful that eventually, once the fans come back, there'll be a new wave of excitement, but that will only last so long as the creative sucks. And that's just the state of affairs in WWE.
I can't believe we're not getting AJ Styles versus freaking Bobby Lashley. You got him stuck in this mixed tag team picture where literally he hasn't even been on TV.
I do have one more thing to say, and then we can move on to the next thing real quick. It's kind of
I'm going to predict what you're going to say, and then you can say you are going to say you are happy to be here.
Okay, I wasn't gonna say that, but yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm always happy to be here. No, what I was gonna say was it's kind of sad that, well, it's not really sad because Roman Reigns has the Universal title. That at this moment right now, I feel like the Universal title has a little bit more prestige right now than the WWE title.
Yeah, that's pretty much been its legacy since it existed.
But I like Lashley having the WWE title.
I am too, but the way the WWE title picture has been booked, it just, like Noah said, it's very lacking right now.
Hey, and the shout out in the chat, by the way, the Cleaver Colin Andrew, I think he's a mod in there tonight. And then whoever Maria is, she said, love you guys. I don't know if she's talking about someone in the chat or all of us, but
Maria Jose Mendoza.
Good to have positive people in the chat, not all negative. So, and of course, Michael Wayne and the usuals, everybody, thanks for joining us this evening right here on the NoDQ review. I had this as a filler topic if we needed to fill time, and we don't necessarily need to do that, but what's everyone's quick thoughts? Aleister Black is back. Is this going to go anywhere? Let's just go around real quick, give a couple sentences. What do you think here? I just wanted to sneak this in there because I know some people out there like him, but I don't know if WWE likes him. No, I'll start with you.
It's weird, this narrative. He's talking about a dragon, and the last thing we knew that he was a part of was a feud with Kevin Owens. I honestly don't know where this is going.
So we got to kind of stay tuned, huh?
Pretty much. Too soon to say.
I feel like it was where he was at before. Remember when he was in a dark room and I don't know, and then they just took him off TV for a while. So it's like, make something of this guy. I mean, how many years did it take for Cesaro to get what we think might be his biggest push of his career with Roman coming up? And we'll talk about that more during the main event. But, like, just what are you going to do? I mean, you're an NXT investment, and it's sometimes there's a disconnect from NXT to the main roster for whatever reason. Big G?
I hope they do something with them. I mean, give him a couple weeks with his vignettes and, you know, have him come out and just dominate like he did back in NXT. And Noah can attest to that. Down in NXT, he was a badass.
Yeah, right.
And then they teamed him up with Ricochet.
Now, Aaron, I come over to you because, you know, SmackDown's the biggest wrestling show of the week in terms of real ratings on TV. Your last episode, you had Aleister Black featured. Do people care about him still, you think, or just the diehards?
Oh, that was.
Well, that's probably the only people that ever cared about him. But what do you think?
That was rough. My live stream did not do well last Friday. I put Aleister Black as the headline in the thumbnail, and yeah, it did one of its lowest numbers it's ever done. So I'm sticking with Roman Reigns.
And I like Aleister Black, by the way. I'm not trying to
too. And I thought I put it as the headline because I thought people would be interested in it. People have been like, what happened to Aleister Black? They've been talking about it now for months now. People saying, I want to see Aleister Black back. He's back. And like, nobody really cares. And you look at the WWE YouTube channel, that clip did not do as well as some of the other clips on the show, despite the fact that he's been off TV for all this time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wonder if people are just done. Like they lost interest. WWE had something with him and it fizzled out, and like people see through this. They're like, well, why should we care? Why should we get invested when the likelihood is that in 3 or 4 weeks, Vince is going to lose interest? So I think fans are conditioned to not care because they know WWE screws up these storylines and doesn't give these characters a chance. We see it all the time, and the fans know now. They know this Aleister Black stuff is probably bullshit. It's probably going nowhere. And
Aaron cursed.
Yeah, I did. That's why
demonetized.
That's why I have trouble watching
threw me off
sometimes because they drive me nuts. And
yeah,
Aleister Black.
I like Daniel Molinax's comment. They said they're gonna make him the new what did he say? Like Tales of the Crypt or whatever. They were gonna He said WWE is making Black their version of the Crypt Keeper. WWE presents Tales from the Crypt. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, remember the whole thing he did with the knocking on the door, and it was like 3 months that they were doing those vignettes. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna do that.
He just wanted somebody to pick up.
Well, and who was coming to the door? Mojo Rawley and people like that.
Buddy Murphy. Which actually was a really good match on a crappy pay-per-view. And Cesaro, I mean, when he actually is in the ring, he's a great competitor. But the way that they've been booking him, creativity sours an audience. Time off sours an audience. At this point, you got to wonder, is it almost one and done? And I look at this presentation. He's clearly not being face here, okay? He's going to come back something darker. What do you do to set him up on SmackDown? Who you set him on SmackDown with? Because in SmackDown, there's not a strong number of baby faces, and I don't think people want to see him and KO revisited.
No.
Now, speaking of whom Vince McMahon likes,
Segway.
Not necessarily pushed into the main event scene, but I've been saying this since he got called up to the main roster. I'm telling you, Vince McMahon is entertained by Matt Riddle. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to be entertained by Matt Riddle and the Stoner gimmick, but now he's getting mixed up with Randy Orton, and they just don't do that with anybody. And rumor has it that Orton wants to work with Riddle. You know you're going to get a really good to great match out of Riddle when he's out there. Shoes or no shoes. Scooter or no scooter. Bro, Stoner gimmick or no Stoner gimmick. So what's everyone's thoughts here with yet another WWE Odd Couple. This screams, let's work this together for so many weeks until RKO out of nowhere, right? You would think, and that's probably what's going to happen because there is no creativity. But I suggested some fantasy armchair booking on Twitter. If Vince McMahon does truly enjoy Matt Riddle, like I think he does, not that this would be a rocket strapped to him all the way to the top of the food chain, but just to get Riddle some attention, what if Riddle turned on Randy in a double turn? We don't get those good double turns anymore. And he all of a sudden didn't talk like the bro stoner gimmick, and he was like MMA shoot fighter serious. Would that not be something cool, just something different? Or is it going to end up being blah, 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 friendship? Hey, we got a new duo, and then boom, RKO. Randy Orton does his look. Ha, 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 I got you again. Big G, is WWE going to do the obvious here? I mean, I like Bryan because I like your idea, Matt Riddle, but it's interesting. If my thing came to be, it's different. It's interesting. Yeah. What do people complain about Riddle? The stoner gimmick. Drop it. Make him serious. What do you think?
I mean, I've said it for day one. I've liked Matt Riddle since NXT. His whole shtick right now,
Evil Knievel now. He's like that Evil Knievel jumpsuit. Come on.
The stoner thing. I mean, it's fun, but then like sometimes I'm like, really? I was like, can I not come up with anything better than this? But him teaming up with Randy Orton kind of reminds me when they teamed him up with Pete Dunne with the Broserweights, and now we have RK Bro
T-shirt. Yeah, is that just a T-shirt thing?
And it's going to be look. They did that a couple years ago with Y2AJ, and they broke them up like within 2 weeks, and people bought all their shirts. They were happy, and they broke them up, and people were like, "Oh crap! I just bought this shirt, and now they're not together." So I have a feeling they're going to do the same thing. They're going to have this tag team for at least a month or two, and then, like you said, we're going to see the obvious. Randy is going to do an RKO out of nowhere, but I would like to see what you mentioned, a double turn, and Matt Riddle turn on Randy Orton. But I don't think in Vince's eyes he sees Matt Riddle as a heel. He sees him as a stoner, as a goofball, as a guy who rides.
Unless somebody showed Vince Matt Riddle's UFC and MMA work, and especially the fight where he landed at the time, it was the most strikes landed ever in a fight. If Vince saw that, like, that's that guy. I got him on my roster. Yeah. What?
Yeah,
that would be the only way.
I am intrigued to see how this plays out within the next couple weeks. So
intrigued, though. That's better than not being intrigued, especially something from Monday Night Raw.
Right.
Noah, what do you think?
Considering it was the one thing I cared about on Monday Night Raw, I'm intrigued by this too. And again, it goes back to the fact there is no tag team division really on Monday Night Raw, because who else do you have Omas and AJ feud for the titles with besides the New Day? Elias and Riker, give me a break. So this should be a very interesting thing. I clearly see these two going for the tag titles. Definitely see a bunch of vignettes where Orton's just looking on this guy like, are you serious? I don't ever hear Orton saying bro, though. I do like your idea, Virtue, because it could give me vibes of maybe like someone going as wild and as dominant as Ken Shamrock, maybe even bringing back the Lion's Den for a potential match between Riddle and Orton. But again, it's your vision versus Vince's vision. And we all know Vince loves this goofy ball that is Matt Riddle. So I see this being a short-term fun thing to look at on Monday Night Raw, potentially tag team title match. I don't know as far as tag team title run, but I definitely see the obvious diffusal where it's going to result in Randy turning on his partner, because let's think about his last time he was with people. Legacy, rated RKO. Surprising he never went after tag titles when he was in Evolution, but I digress. This is clearly setting up a short-term singles program again with Orton and Riddle, going all the way back to when they first encountered each other back at Survivor Series 2019. But at least this gives me something to care about on Monday Night Raw.
Now, Aaron, can you see Randy Orton and Matt Riddle facing AJ and Omas? Do you think that's where they're going with this?
Could be. Like Noah said, there's not a lot of options right now. I really like your idea, Virtue. I think that would be very interesting if it was actually Riddle that went heel instead of Orton. Turn against Orton before he can turn against you. And Riddle can reinvent his character and get rid of the goofy gimmick. But yeah, I think it's probably going to be the predictable outcome that everyone's expecting. And Randy Orton can say, "You never saw it coming, blah, blah, blah. And how could you trust me?"
Yeah, neither did we.
Yeah. None of you saw it coming. So, yeah, I think that there are a lot of interesting things they could do with this. And it might lead to some fun moments. But, yeah, I think the end result is Riddle gets an RKO. When it's time to get Orton back in the world title picture, we're going to see the end of this storyline with him. It's just something for Orton to do right now when he's not in the world title picture.
So stay tuned, because I'm sure if my idea happens, I will be gloating. So, all right, this Impact Rebellion, Aaron watched it. We had a debut, a return to the business, but a debut in Impact for Mr. Morrissey, which is big cast, so awesome there. We're going to get teases of maybe Samoa Joe, Chelsea Green. We'll see if any of these people come back to Impact, but big cast. Morrissey is there. It's good to see his head back on straight. And who knows, maybe a little sidekick will be joining him soon for a couple promos. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he doesn't even want to come back to wrestling, but that would be awesome to see Enzo and Cass reunite anywhere. But we'll see. And then, of course, Kenny Omega is now the Impact World Champion as well as the AEW World Champion. So what's everyone's thoughts on this? I don't really know if it's doing anything for AEW. I don't think it is. Impact, okay, you have a little bit of extra intrigue there with some AEW people on there, but now they have your title. Noah, I'm going to come over to you on this one.
Well, as somebody who definitely looks at the smaller players versus the biggest player in the game, I'm intrigued to see what happens here. First off, Kaz, congratulations. Basically taking a bit of a revelation type route, similar to what Shawn Michaels did. He overcame his past demons. He got himself in great shape. And we saw teases of this when he got on the Good Brothers Impact Plus driven show. And now he's officially part of Impact Wrestling, part of the most dominant faction Impact Wrestling right now, Violent by Design. Very strong showing at Rebellion. Glad he's back. Curious how they use him going forward. Maybe a tag team title run of a different sort, considering Round has that Call Your Shot trophy. Now, as far as Kenny Omega and this gimmick about being the collector, expanding and changing the world, I feel that's been slowly teased for a while now, and they are at least acknowledging the Impact Championship, Kenny Omega Impact Champion on AEW, via the graphic. He has yet to come out of it, though. But I look at this like, okay, AEW's got the next pay-per-view, Double or Nothing. Impact Wrestling has specials, Impact Plus. And according to what I just read on Impact Twitter, they are doing qualifying matches to determine Kenny Omega's next opponent, similar to how they did before Bound for Glory in a tournament style. I can only hope this means that more eyes will be brought towards wrestling as a whole, whether they look at Impact or look at AEW or look at something in general. I'm very intrigued by this. And when I think about potential ways I see this going, Kenny Omega, I see him facing Kingston maybe at Double or Nothing based on what's going on there. Who could face him in Impact Wrestling? Names, there could be big men like Moose. There could be former challengers towards the world title like Chris Bay. Battle of Canadians, Option C cashed in maybe by Josh Alexander. People fighting on Rich Swann's behalf out of respect and waving the Impact banner. I'm very curious how this would go because I remember when Kurt Angle basically did something similar when he went to NJPW and had all the gold. So I'm just going to watch and see, but I'm happy for Cass, and I'm curious now, can Kenny Omega handle all this pressure being a champion across 3 different companies? I'm not going to forget he's Triple A Mega champion too.
Is he seriously calling himself the Collector?
Yes, that's right. And people have been doing gifts like the Finals Glove. What title we go after next? Ring of Honor, New Japan, NWA. Only time will tell. But this certainly intrigues me, and I can only hope with stuff called Under Siege, there will be more of that exposure of a crossover between AEW and Impact Wrestling.
All right. Thank you, Noah. Big G, got much to say about this? It's Impact Wrestling. I know you like Big Cass.
I'm glad that he's with a major wrestling company now. And like you said, maybe a little sidekick might join him one day. We'll see if he wants to. I mean, I know Enzo's been doing indie shows here and there and doing his music shtick and whatever. But I'm glad Big Cass is back. He looks great. Hopefully he does great in Impact Wrestling. I'm bad on Impact Wrestling. I don't really watch it. Kenny Omega, the man knows how to wrestle. He is the Collector, and now, like you said, he's got the Impact World title. So we'll see what, and the AAA, we'll see what title he goes after next. So
Aaron, why couldn't they have like this whole thing with Impact and AEW just didn't go where I would hope it would go? Would that not have been cool if, like, you know how Cass debuted in Impact and then all of a sudden Enzo showed up on AEW? Like, and I know that's kind of rehashing back to the WCW days with the NWO, but you know, there's been a lot of things they've tried to clone from that era. Why not just go ahead and do that and make this feel like an actual war between promotions, not just, you know, the little bit that they've done to get Don Callis on TV and put Kenny Omega over more? Like, I don't know. What do you think?
It's just like what WCW did with New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's just like a talent exchange. You had the Good Brothers show up on Dynamite. You have Kenny Omega show up on Impact. And I think that's pretty much all it's going to be. Could they have done more? Absolutely. And I would have been intrigued by it, but they're doing what they're doing. Omega's the Impact champion. I'm sure he'll bump their numbers up a little bit, 50,000, 100,000, whatever. And people will see this as a turnaround in Impact's business. And
you think they would have did it a little differently if there were crowds? This
Perhaps.
thing, you think the pandemic has kind of restricted it to what it's been?
I think that's a good point. I think that's
think about it. Crowd noise, chanting for the other company, while the other company, I mean, we've subtly heard AEW chants, for example, at a WWE event. So, I mean, I think definitely, again, it's the people that drive the business forward. And if you have that type of idea of people wearing Impact merch at AEW or AEW merch at Impact, yeah, I feel that, again, it's been constrained by the pandemic.
Yep.
And PsychoJet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says AEW did not want to waste airtime on Rich Scrub. Well, clearly not. I mean, they did not even bother having him show up on Dynamite to do an angle with Omega to set up the match. But hey, they still apparently did a good number on pay-per-view. Apparently they did way better than Bound for Glory, which I'm not surprised about. I figured Omega would help them out a little bit, and he'll probably bump up their numbers a little bit. And it is what it is. If you want Kenny Omega on TV twice a week, well, now you got him.
I'm just super curious how Summerversary is going to outlook when you think about everything you saw in that trailer. UK setting, Australian flag, Mexican flag, New Japan town, released WWE town, including former TNA town and champion Samoa Joe. That's a big money match I would like to see.
Mojo Rawley, Impact Slammiversary.
Oh my
God. Who?
Mojo Rawley.
Mojo, okay. Mojo came back and was healthy and could challenge Omega. Now we're on to something, at least for the.
Oh, Jojo.
All right, we gotta move on here. Boy, I put a column up. I put an article up Monday. In typical virtue fashion here. Yeah, I said third person. I said Charlotte needs to be pushed to the moon, and everybody's like, "What do you mean? She's 12-time champion." Okay, when I say moon, that means I got your attention. The reason why I say that is because her suspension didn't last very long, did it? She's back. She came back on Raw. I was not even expecting her. I didn't know if it was something that she was going through or just another week off to sell it. No, they brought her back right away, and she got a win. I think it was over Mandy Rose.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
So she's going to be right in this mix with Asuka and Rhea Ripley, and it makes me think they could put the title back on her, and I think it would be 13 times. They obviously want to get her closer to her dad with that. It's going to happen. Yep. She's so far into it now, and I think they've even counted her NXT reigns.
Yep.
It's going to happen, so just roll with it. Now, look, people are calling her a female Roman Reigns. People don't like Charlotte now in the same way they didn't like Reigns because the office is giving her titles and constantly pushing her. But hear me out. If you read the article, in the long run, her being a top villain and holding that title to pass it off like a torch, like it used to be back in the day, to Rhea Ripley, which would make her a 2-time champion. But on the big stage, or Bianca Belair, that's how you do it. You have Bianca and Rhea the champions right now. But I just don't feel like they were given the torch. It's up. We're called up. We're the next I don't even know what to call them. We're the next generation of NXT female talents. Sorry about Shayna there, Big G. She's a tag team champion at least. But I just don't feel like it's long lasting. And Charlotte is that name where people resent her. You put the title on her, they're going to hate her more. then you make a long reign and have her drop it and pass the torch to one of the younger ladies that are going to be there for the next 5 years. Of course, Charlotte will probably be there for 10 more. So she's back already, Big G.
Yeah.
And it inspired me to write a column during Monday Night Raw. And I said that she should be pushed to the moon. And maybe because it's the Roman complex, that's what I'm going to call it. But what do you think? People are probably sick of me talking Charlotte, even though I'm going to say it now indefinitely. What does Big G think?
Well, kind of surprised me that she showed up on Monday Night Raw, and with Sonya Deville by her side, which I think maybe they're in cahoots, which is interesting. Maybe I'm sure Charlotte will weasel her way into the title picture for WrestleMania Backlash, and I do feel like she will win the championship again and become a 13-time champion. I have nothing against Charlotte Flair. I like her in-ring work. I like her promos, and like you said, people complain that, she's getting title after title after title after title, but she does the work in the ring. She deserves to be the women's champion, and have Rhea chase after her, chase after the title, and have maybe Rhea win it at SummerSlam or whatever. And you need to build up contenders for Charlotte. So we'll see what happens. And like I said, I'm liking this heel Charlotte. I've liked Charlotte since early NXT days. So
it's not like I said Nia Jax. You know what I mean? I said Charlotte Flair. And of course, then there's the headline skippers. Oh, it's stupid. What a horrible article. Good. By you saying that, I got you. Noah Foster.
So the way I see it is, you can make those comparisons. Okay, maybe they're overexposed. Maybe they're the first person that's always booked. Maybe, people could also say, well, Roman and Charlotte, they're on a different level, it seems, in WWE, maybe versus the rest of the roster. Maybe there is some sort of jealousy within the actual locker room itself. But also, let's think about this. You can't have Charlotte Flair and face in the same sentence. She's a Flair, for Pete's sake. She's going to be a heel, so it makes sense to book her as a heel. The thing is, though, her as a heel, people are always going to boo her just based on that name. While Roman as a heel, the Thunderdome literally wants to turn you into a robot and tell you to boo Roman. I ain't going to boo Roman. With that being said, I got nothing against Charlotte Flair. She's in her spot for a reason, not just because of her name, because honestly, she probably is one of the hardest workers there in WWE. She puts herself to that level and that pressure. You want to think about the rest of the women's roster. Okay, who you got? Everybody in mixed form tag teams, the women tag titles still don't freaking matter. Sorry, Big G. Shayna Baszler is one of the unfortunate victims because Shayna Baszler and Charlotte Flair 1-on-1 has yet to happen yet because the only time they exchanged with each other was during the Royal Rumble, where Charlotte did eliminate your girl. But I digress. Also, I think about others. What the heck are they doing with Alexa Bliss? Nothing. What the heck are they doing with people like Nikki Cross? Nothing. Rhea Ripley even said if Charlotte Flair was involved with the WrestleMania match, she'd be fine with that because ultimately Rhea Ripley wants that one-on-one to try and avenge what happened to her back at WrestleMania 36. So the way I see it, I got nothing against Charlotte Flair. It is what it is. You don't want Charlotte Flair always in front of you, then try and build somebody that can carry the Raw division going forward as a champion or as a top-tier draw. Besides her, because Rhea Ripley, she was just put in place, it seems, due to circumstances. Again, it's the same thing as the WWE Championship. Book themselves in the corner. I ultimately see Asuka, Rhea, and Flair at WrestleMania Backlash, and that potentially could be where Flair regains the title. It is what it is. Yep. Deal with it.
Well said, Noah. All right, Aaron, over to you, and I think there's some super chats.
Yeah, there is one from Psycho Jet Black, says with $2, Roman Reigns cuts way better heel promos than Charlotte.
Well, that's because of Paul Heyman's influence. I will not argue that. And also, you want to talk about the Charlotte Flair influence? Virtue, I know you don't watch NXT, but I got a name for you might want to watch out for. Her name is Zoe Stark. She right now has been very pushed forward in NXT. She's been in the rear of Io Shirai, former NXT Women's Champion, She literally got up in Rigo when the newcomer, Sarai, came into play, and they let her get a victory on the pre-show of the previous TakeOver over established name, Toni Storm. People right now are comparing Zoe Stark to potentially be the next one that Vince could see as a Flair to be, or in the similar showcasing. So you might want to watch out for that name.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I'm all for those ones that Vince likes to push, obviously, because I know it pisses people off. But they got talent. Like Vince would not be throwing big bucks at these people. Look at him. He's a billionaire. So keep judging him. Creative's definitely a big issue, but he's still, as Vince McMahon, a billionaire. Aaron?
I agree. There's nothing wrong with pushing Charlotte. She should be pushed. She should be a top heel. I do agree that her promos are not as good as Roman Reigns' promos. I think there could be improvement.
Think about that. Time out real second. We are saying in 2021 that Roman Reigns has these really good promos. You know how proud that makes me feel?
Yeah, I mean, his promos have been fantastic. The heel turn has worked wonders for him. The thing with Charlotte, though, is she bounces back between heel and face so much. It's really hard for her to develop a really strong character that you can identify. She's just all over the place, it seems. That's one thing I would change. Like, you got to give her a clearly defined role and build that up instead of saying, okay, this week she's a face, next week she's a heel, and have her go away for 6 months, come back and for 2 weeks or whatever, and then disappear again. Like, you're going to do something with her. And yeah, she'll probably beat Ric Flair's record. I'm guessing she'll be a 17-time women's champion.
At least.
I fully expect that to happen before it's all said and done. And I have nothing to complain about with the way she looks. I think she looks great. She looks like a star.
Yep.
And I'm curious about this Sonya Deville, Adam Pearce storyline. They furthered that a little bit, and I'm curious to see where they go with that. And I hope they don't do a triple threat, though, especially since they're doing one for the WWE title. Save Charlotte for a different pay-per-view.
Triple threats are lazy booking, but that's the WWE. So brace yourself. Okay, main event time. You see the thumbnail. Of course, Roman's in it. Cesaro's in it. Who would have thought we'd kind of feature that? But it's really about Daniel Bryan because tomorrow night on SmackDown, tonight on SmackDown, if you're watching this on Friday for the people on demand, Daniel Bryan will be challenging Roman Reigns for the Universal title, correct?
Correct.
And if he doesn't win, he's gone from SmackDown. I know it's funny, gone from SmackDown, your SmackDown career. They could have made it a little more defiant. We'll see how they play this out. Is WWE painting themselves, booking themselves into a corner? But Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns on SmackDown, we know they can work together really well.
Oh, yeah.
So this is going to be interesting. Well, Cesaro, he's still kind of mixing it up with Rollins, but he's like on deck. So what does everybody think here with this SmackDown main event picture for the Universal title? Specifically, Daniel Bryan, what's going to happen? Big G?
Well, it'll be one hell of a match. I'm going to throw a curveball here. I think I'm gonna say that Daniel Bryan does win the title tomorrow night on SmackDown.
What?
Yeah. Listen out. And then Roman Reigns and then Roman Reigns wins it back at the next pay-per-view, which is WrestleMania Backlash, which was like, is it 2 weeks from now or like 3 weeks? I can't remember. But
I think it's 2 weeks from now.
It's in May, middle of May.
Yeah. So if Roman does win, though, I can see Daniel Bryan either going to Raw or going down to NXT and potentially helping the NXT talent down there. I mean, I could see him versus Adam Cole, him versus Kyle O'Reilly, Karrion Kross. There's so much potential down there that he could have matches with, and I think it would be a lighter schedule for Daniel Bryan. So,
Big G, what the hell are you thinking? Daniel Bryan's gonna beat Roman Reigns for the title on SmackDown? Get your head out of your ASS. Oh my God. Now I cannot wait for this to be over tomorrow night because I will be lurking, waiting for you. Wow. I can't believe that.
Virtue's Reigns.
Wait. Are you just saying that to say that? Like you are betting against Roman Reigns?
No, I'm just saying that. Just there's no way in hell that
trolling me? Are you trolling me?
Maybe.
Whatever. All right, no, Foster. Like, all right, I'm passing it over to you. I haven't had enough of Big G on this topic.
I think that was Big G's real opinion. I don't think he was trolling you.
Well, that was interesting. Okay. the biggest thing we got to wonder here, what is the end game here of this story? Yes, Daniel Bryan, if he loses, he's gone from SmackDown for good. But let's think about this. Who Daniel Bryan is endorsing to push forward now? We're finally been talking about the guy who's been voted by NoDQ Awards itself as the underdog of the year, it seems, or most underrated talent, Cesaro, one of my all-time favorites. Clearly, Daniel Bryan is pushing Cesaro forward to be the next challenger towards Roman Reigns. Once this budding thing with Seth Rollins, who left, I might add, during a tag match, is over with. I figure it's already over with by now. But as far as what that leads to Daniel Bryan's future, that's the more intriguing thing. Big G didn't bring up an interesting point that maybe he goes down and works a little bit in NXT because it would be a lighter schedule. We've already seen Pete Dunne, for example, call him out about being the most technical wrestler. And I would love to see, for example, him clash with some of the greats in NXT, but not limited to, excuse me, can't get my words right. Pete Dunne, we've already seen him face Adam Cole, actually, Big G. Yeah. But Karrion Kross, that'd be intriguing. Finn Balor would be actually a nice follow-up, considering Finn Balor's a new character. But ultimately, it also comes back to what we talked about last week when we were talking about, I think it was Ronda Rousey or CM Punk chasing the dragon. Like, Daniel Bryan has been out there saying his contract is about to expire, and he doesn't know if he wants to continue wrestling. He wants to renew it. A wrestler should want to end their career on their own terms when they feel right. And for a while, we thought Daniel Bryan would never come back to professional wrestling. He did, and he's had a hell of a run since then, including as WWE champion. The new Daniel Bryan, awesome. But if he goes to Raw, it would help there too. That would be a whole different dynamic. He could feud with the likes of Sheamus, AJ Styles, and him can renew hostilities. Heck, he could maybe potentially challenge Bobby Lashley. We saw what he did with Brock Lesnar. But the most curious thing here is you got to wonder, after this, what does Daniel Bryan do? How long does he take time off? How do you reintroduce him? That's the bigger thing here. But as far as the match tomorrow, Big G, Roman's winning. Believe that. And honestly, if I were to pick one match for Daniel Bryan to do before he closes his career, I want to see him face Walter.
Oh, there you go. Nice. Well, I like your pick there for tomorrow night's match, Noah. Aaron, over to you, and there's some super chats I am dying for you to read.
All right. Well, first of all, I think Daniel Bryan's winning the title on SmackDown. No, I'm kidding. All right.
I knew it longer than I
highly unlikely in all likelihood. But anyway.
Can you imagine if it happened? Oh, my God. I'm going to have to – I can't go on social media.
I mean, you would be in a tough predicament if Daniel Bryan won that match.
God, I got about 26 hours here left. 25 hours.
Place your bets, people. Place your bets.
All right, Aaron.
All right. Let's get to the super chats. The Game is on 100 says, "Goodbye and never come back, you troll Bryan, LOL."
Ooh. It's a little harsh, but okay.
Harsh.
To each their own.
Is that Triple H's burner account over there? Walter Cruz with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Walter. Says, and not Walter the wrestler, obviously, says, Big G, Daniel Bryan doesn't even think he's beating Roman Reigns.
That is a hell of a super chat. That is Virtue's super chat of the night. Maybe that's a new thing I'll start doing.
No, super chat of the
that
night.
is an awesome statement right there.
Can anybody?
It's so good. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it again. Walter Cruz for $5 said, Big G, Daniel Bryan doesn't even think he's beating Roman Reigns.
Well, we'll see if somebody can top that and send in a better super chat that will get a larger pop from Virtue. We'll see if that happens. Now, I get what Big G is saying. Because of Daniel Bryan doing the interviews and saying, man, I think I want to do other stuff in like NXT or maybe even AEW. Like, it just seems too obvious that he's leaving SmackDown, you know? The way they're setting up, it's like, okay, Daniel Bryan says he's winding down his career. He wants to fight other people. And, yeah, that would be quite the swerve to have him actually beat Reigns. But it doesn't make any sense. There's no good reason for Roman Reigns to lose on a random episode of SmackDown. You'd kill off his momentum. Yeah, Daniel Bryan could get that feel-good moment, and Reigns could win back the title. Yeah. I just don't think the timing's right. Maybe if there were fans, you could make a better argument for it, but no, it's not the right time. I think Daniel Bryan should be doing something else. Go to NXT. There's so many opportunities. Walter sent in a $2 super chat, says Bryan should go to NXT. I think that's perfect.
There you go.
Boost
Bryan,
up the NXT brand, a whole new crop of guys he can fight. He can do what Finn Balor is doing, be the veteran in NXT. Have him fight Ciampa, have him fight Gargano, have him fight Adam Cole, baby. Have him
Timothy
fight
Thatcher,
Walter.
Kyle O'Reilly. The list goes on and on.
I mean, Bryan could have like a dozen high-profile matches in NXT over the next couple of years. Totally fresh environment for him. I think that's his future. Not Raw, not AEW. I think we're going to see Bryan in NXT if I had to make a bold prediction on it. And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says Aleister Black returns and screws over Bryan. Well, the only thing with that, if Bryan's gone, there's no feud, so that really wouldn't serve any purpose for Aleister Black to cost Bryan. But maybe Aleister Black shows up and costs somebody else the match. Let's see what else we got here. Dr. NXT Scorpio sent in a $2 super chat, says, I got $10 on Daniel Bryan winning clean.
Yeah, way to jump on the Big G bandwagon there.
Well, I got to give Big G credit for at least going with the bold prediction. And if he wins, we're all going to come off as very foolish if that happens. But yeah, I'm saying Roman Reigns retains the title. Bryan goes to NXT.
Same.
Yep. Roman Reigns retains. That's all I really need to say. All right. Well, what a great review, people. And oh my gosh, could we get out of here before 1 hour? Well, we know what part of the show this is, and we'll see where this leads to, but it's 8:56. Noah, it's time to do our plugs. I'm going to start with you.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen. People, you want to know more about me? Know this. I'm just a simple man, a lifelong fan of wrestling. So follow me on Twitter at mfoster1916, Instagram at mfoster1916, simple YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/NoFoster10 for all things wrestling, and shout out to my ATW family on Twitter. As always, folks, I'd like to close. There are no winners, there are no losers, there are no bears. There are just fans with own opinions for this passion we all share. So at the end of the day, just respect one another and support each other and just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. Simple as that.
All right. Thanks for being on back-to-back weeks. You're starting to become one of the clutch guys.
My pleasure.
Okay. Cool. All right, Big G, over to you.
Yep. NoDQ.com/BigBallerG takes you to my Twitter. And on there, you'll find my link to my YouTube channel for the Gridiron Grapple every Thursday now at 5 p.m. Eastern. And also follow me at NoDQ_BigBallerG on TikTok.
All right. Thank you, Big G. Okay, Aaron, I did see one pop in, but it's from Walter Cruz, and so it's okay by me if he did it. So
and no question to keep us on for another 5 minutes. Interestingly enough, our live viewers just jumped up a little bit. It's like people like the end when we start going off the rails and talking about all these random topics. But as of now,
Aaron's milking it. He's stretching it. Oh, God.
Here we go. It begins, ladies and gentlemen.
Ding. It's the review after dark.
It's the review after dark at the 1 hour point. All hell breaks loose.
Aaron jinxed it.
All right. Well, we'll try to get through this quickly. Try to keep on pace so we don't get too extended in our discussion.
Well, what are these super chats? Go ahead and read them.
Okay. Walter Cruz with
come on.
Where's the button here? Okay. Walter Cruz with the $2 super chat says, is Roman retaining? Yes.
Yes, he is.
Yes. Is that how Orange Cassidy does it, Noah?
I don't know.
Okay, next.
All right. Psycho Jet Black says your favorite Tom Cruise movies. Okay. So this is off topic. Are there any movies that
I got two? There's two. I'm getting mine out of the way. Jerry Maguire and Rain Man are my top two Tom Cruise
Why
movies.
do you like Rain Man so much, Virtue?
Because Raymond Babbitt is, to me, he is the Dave Meltzer character. Now, Raymond Babbitt character is autistic, right? But he's very mathematically smart. Dave Meltzer, I don't think has the smarts like an autistic. I've tutored math kids that are autistic. So I see that, and they're very smart. Dave Meltzer isn't very smart, but he has the traits of, I'm going to leave it at that. But Rain Man, excellent movie, and Dustin Hoffman deserved that award, that Academy Award. And he got it.
The views expressed by Virtue do not represent everyone else on NoDQ. Just throwing that out there.
Why? Because I said Meltzer's like Raymond Babbitt. So
I mean, kind of a mean comment, but I'm not going there. Mike D with a $2 super chat says NYC opening full stadiums by July 1st. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about WrestleMania SummerSlam coming up and possibly being in a stadium just like WrestleMania. There's been talk about Arizona. There's been talk about Texas, and we'll see what happens. I think there's a pretty good chance we're going to have WrestleMania SummerSlam with fans. It just depends where. I mean, I think it's almost a sure thing. The question is, by SummerSlam, will we be on a regular touring schedule? Okay, we do have another $2 super chat here from Sacred Monkey Bone. Which MK character would make the best WWE superstar? What is MK?
Mortal Kombat.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
I'm going to go with Kano.
Johnny Cage. Isn't it Johnny Cage is the one that Miz is getting compared to or whatever?
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. That's the one I'm going to say. See, easy peasy.
I have to
Jax.
say, the one that was like Scorpio or Sub-Zero, because you had what's his name in WCW? Glacier.
Oh my God.
Glacier was basically a Sub-Zero.
Well, Sub-Zero would literally kill Glacier.
Who was the reptile character in Mortal Kombat?
Reptile.
Reptile. Okay, remember Mortis, Chris Canyon?
Yeah.
I kind of see a little bit of that back then, but
I was more of a Street Fighter fan, so I literally only know Sub-Zero and Scorpio.
Okay, so if you were a Street Fighter fan, which Street Fighter character would make a good WWE superstar?
The big guy, the big muscular guy, the Brazil character.
Oh, Blanca?
Yeah.
Oh, with the green guy with the orange hair?
Yeah.
Okay, Blanca. Okay.
Aaron's just looking forward to get that out of the way. Done. Next.
Okay. Mike D with a $2 super chat says, did you guys see the Miz 24 documentary?
Not yet.
Nope.
It's on my list.
Noah?
Why does the Miz have a documentary already?
Wait, you just coined a phrase, Documania.
Oh, God.
WWE
That's what WWE's doing with all these things on A&E.
I haven't seen it.
Wow, nobody here has seen it. I've actually been watching the A&E documentaries, so I'll get to the Miz one eventually. And the AEW, the A&E ones are pretty good from what I've seen so far. The Piper one I really liked a lot. And
I watched the Macho Man one. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, although they already did Dark Side of the Ring with Randy Savage, and I feel like what can they tell as far as the story goes that's different from what Dark Side of the Ring did? Like
the happier version.
I guess it's going to be the happier version.
It's got to be.
They'll probably still cover the same stuff that they did on Dark Side of the Ring.
I'm liking the other one, though. The Most Wanted Treasures. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've started watching
Y'all
it.
caught up?
It's basically like a Pawn Stars show with WWE people.
Yeah.
And WWE memorabilia. That's pretty much what it is. It's entertaining, though. I do like it. Anyways, yeah, we're caught up. So, Virtue, let's go ahead and wrap this bad boy up.
All right, you can follow me on Twitter if you dare at NoDQ_Virtue. I will piss people off, and I don't even care if they're on this team. I will do what I do, how I do it, when I do it, because that's how I have fun. And if you take it to heart, if you take it literal, shame on you. So for Aaron Rift, for Big G, and for Noah Foster, I am Virtue. Thank you for watching this edition of the NoDQ Review number 137 right here on NoDQ.com. And we will see you next time.